Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kat. I make art videos. I'm also a full-time employee, not with art, separate from art. I'm a full-time mother and a full-time wife. I don't take any time off from those two. But I thought today we could do something soft and sweet. We can just swatch my Rembrandt 48 set. So here is the swatch card I have with this set. And I realized I don't talk about this set very often, but it's a very, very beautiful, vibrant, high quality, relatively affordable 448 set watercolor palette. So I did want to go ahead, make a video with you guys swatching that. I'm going to be using this watercolor pad from Artisto. This is acid-free, cold pressed watercolor paper. And I do like this paper for testing swatches, for play and practice. I finished up a sketchbook of these and it came with a 3-pack, so I figured I'd go ahead, get that out, and we could swatch these colors together. Now I don't have the names of these colors because the set, it comes with numbers and not names, but most of them are pretty straightforward. So I'm just go ahead, give that a little spritz. I will be using the Vinci Casaneo #2 mop brush for these swatches. And if I have to adjust the lighting, I will. I'm using natural light right now, but it looks like we might get some rain clouds, so I might have to turn on a lamp or something of the sort. But I have my waters ready. And yeah, I thought we could just go ahead and get started. I will swatch the white, even though we know like that's barely going to show up, but we'll give it a swatch anyways. Okay, and next up we have lemon yellow. That is so nice. I'm trying to get in the habit of pre-wetting my watercolors. So when I'm in my studio, I have this big spray bottle and I use that to pre-wet my watercolors, but most of my painting is done on the couch downstairs and I don't pre-wet them, and it's a big difference. So if you're new to watercolor, you'll notice if you pre-wet your watercolors, you'll see a huge difference in the consistency as well as the amount of paint you get on your brush without actually using like a ton of effort. So this is like a very cool yellow, a nice warm yellow, like sunflower yellow. This is a pretty vibrant orange. Very nice. You love that orange. I feel like I don't use orange enough in my work, but this I would say is a nice golden color. Yeah, that's beautiful. Look at that. This is a little bit richer of a gold, more earth tone. Maybe like an Indian yellow? I don't know, would you guys classify that as an Indian yellow? And then we have this pyrrole orange. Very vibrant. Then moving on to the reds. This is still a little bit of an orange, more like a burnt orange, I would say. This is like a combination of like a reddish orange. That is a very deep red. I use that red quite a bit. It's a bit warmer of a red. It's very cool. This is more warm. This is very cool as well. This is leaning more magenta. And you will see like some earth tones get thrown in the mix. I didn't change this palette from when I bought it. It's very much in the same order because I don't like touching the little half pans because I get my nails and it gets gross. But we're gonna go to like this burnt red. It's very pretty, like a clay color. And then we're gonna go back to some magentas. That's very much like a rose or quin magenta, very pink. Love that. Yeah, look at that. That's beautiful. So I'm going to let that dry. And then I'll come back and we can finish the rest of the swatching. Okay, I think we are touch dry with this page. You can see the texture from this paper, and honestly, this is really good practice paper. So I highly recommend. It's cheap. It comes on a 3-pack. You get a nice flow, like the movement is still there with the cold press paper. It's not 100% cotton, but that's expensive. So you can see the granulation of these more earthy tones. You do get a little bit of spreading here and there, so you guys can see that right there. Just a little bit of that blobby kind of texture, but not too bad. Okay, I do like to work on the front and back of my sketchbooks. I don't know, it's just a preference thing. So now we're going into our purples, and I'm trying to multitask. So while I let this dry, I've been like pumping in between. Moms know. But this is like a very deep, rich kind of violet, I would say. Very beautiful. And this is more like what you would call like a Crayola purple. It's leaning more blue than it is red. And then we move into our blues. And I believe this would be like an ultramarine blue. And I think the next one I would consider like a phthalo blue. I know cobalt is like an expensive pigment, so I doubt we're going to see that in here. But there is a really nice selection of blues and a really healthy selection of greens and earth tones. So again, I really like this palette. I definitely, if you're looking for a bigger palette and you want higher than student quality, but maybe you don't need like the super light fastness that professional watercolors give you, then the Rembrandt is a really good brand. And I believe they're out of America. So if you're in America, the prices I think are a little cheaper, but don't quote me on that. I love this blue. I use this blue a lot. This is like a phthalo blue green shade, I would say, is what it's like really close to. This is more like a turquoise. It's very pretty. But you can see like it's a really healthy, there's not too many purples, you just have these two, but it's a really healthy mix of blues. Like this one's gorgeous. Love that. Very pretty for shadows, mountains, etc. That's also a gorgeous color. I might draw inside these swatches once they dry. I don't know if I'll do that on camera, but just to give it a little pizzazz. Now moving into the greens. See if I can dry this just a little bit. Pick up some more pigment there. You kind of have to work this green if you want to get some good pigment. And then we go into more of like these deep earthy greens. This is like a Christmas tree kind of green. Not my favorite type of green color, but it's still pretty nonetheless. It's kind of like a pastel-y kind of green, I would say. This is like your Crayola green. It's, again, not one of my favorites, but everybody's got their yeses and their nos, what they like, what they don't like. Love this green though. This is leaning very yellow. It's gorgeous, gorgeous. Again, another like emerald type of green, very Christmassy. A little earthy kind of moss green, I would say. Very nice. And then this olive green is gorgeous. Look at that. Very pretty. I use that green quite a bit. Now we don't have to wait for this to dry because I can just move on to the next page. I'll go at like an angle. I hope you guys don't mind that. Into like a, what would y'all say that is? Like a burnt umber? Raw umber maybe? Is that a sienna? What do you think? And then just throwing a random blue in there. Like I said, I have not changed the order of this palette, so that should be over here, but I guess they wanted it over there. This should probably be on the last row, but I guess they wanted it there. I'm not sure why. What do you think? Is this more like the umber? Burnt umber? I don't know, you tell me. Which one did I just do? This one leads more towards like a clay color. See, so I would put that red clay color that we did on the first page somewhere down here in like all of the natural tints. It's also like another clay color. I don't know what we would call that. Oh, I skipped one, so I'm gonna leave a spot. Like a brown oxide maybe? Or just brown, some would say. Let's go back to this one. Gonna give these pinks another spritz. They're starting to dry up on me. Okay, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like we're right around here. Very cool brown. See, and you can see how the water moves on this paper. For the cost, I can't complain. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8, 6. All right, looks like we're over here, coming towards the final pans. Woo, too much pigment. Too much pigment. Now, which one of these would you say is like a chestnut brown? Maybe like that one or that one? Maybe that one's like a chestnut brown. And then the last three here. Might be like a carbon black. Maybe like a Payne's gray. What do you guys think? Is that like a Payne's gray? Love that though, that's beautiful. And then the final color in this palette, a neutral tint, I would say. All right. So again, we use the Casaneo Da Vinci #2 mop brush. Love this. I've been really into mop brushes lately. I have the size 0, size 2 in the Tintoretto, and then I have the size 2 in the Casaneo, and I really like that. So getting a closer look, you can see the bleeds with the blues, very pretty. Leading into the greens. Not too much granulation out of this color set, but there are some colors that granulate, like this brown is very nice. These neutral tints are gorgeous. Again, a random blue, like I don't know why it's down there, but also I feel like maybe you could have put this red in these more earthy tones. What do you guys think? So that is, oh, looks like I should have let it dry a little bit. Oh well. That is all of the colors in the 48 Rembrandt set. If I find it on Amazon, I will link it down below. I don't get anything if you click on those links. I'm just trying to link them for convenience sake, so you guys don't have to go hunting for them. I'll clean this up a little bit, but thank you so much for watching. Again, my name's Kat. If you stuck through the whole video, you're a real one. Appreciate you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.